5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is the Matrix?
Start me from the top, man.
Maybe it's the weed got me. Maybe it's these trees got me. Maybe it's these hoes got me. Maybe it's this stroll that got me. Maybe it's these clothes got me. Maybe it's these laws got me. Maybe it's my dogs got me. Maybe it's these bras got me. Maybe it's this man that got me. Maybe it's my clan that got me. Maybe it's my fam that got me. My plans, my plans. The Matrix, Matrix.
When I wake up in the morning, I wake up in the morning, putting my read in my Bible paper. Lord, I can see them later. Middle finger up, always screaming, fuck a hater. Chewing on them suckers like annihilator. No hip hop, this ain't rock and roll. This is real music, pop lock your soul. All aboard! It is time to hop aboard my spaceship, as you are now tuned into what is the Matrix TV. I'm your most intergalactic host, Jason Elm Street Williams, master of the universe. And let's get right into it. We're starting off with a summary of today's show. As you know, a lot's going on with Jay-Z rape allegations of a 13-year-old. Jay-Z in cahoots with the adrenochrome queen, Marina Abramovic. Jay-Z and Diddy in the return of the spirit of Machiavelli and Tupac Shakur. We're going to talk about bells, the Nazi bells, sound healing, music that heals versus music that kills. So we're going to get into ancient star forts, crop circles, and so much more. So let me introduce my co-host and our special guest. Of course, we have the great oracle and the goddess, Lana, in the building.
Welcome. Thank you for the wonderful intro. Peace, love, and balance to the chat, the audience, and the panel. We are live on Facebook, IG, and YouTube. So you already know, if you like what you hear, like and subscribe. Go ahead, Jason. I know we have a special guest. I'm excited to hear what we got going on.
And we have our other co-host, Brother Sun Ra, raining down from Atlanta. What's good, God?
Woo-hoo.
And our special guest tonight, we have a brother from all the way from Taiwan, Charles Ross.
Hello, hi. Yes, very cool to be on here and to see you doing your thing.
Always.
Welcome.
Very excited.
So give us a little introduction about yourself, Charles, while we get into it. Throw one of the pictures up as well, Murdoch.
Yeah. I've been down a few rabbit holes recently, and I've been focusing on star forts, frequencies that are used in old architecture, frequencies of the human body, that we all have these healing frequencies that we can utilize to give ourselves different types of regeneration to help us stay young, give us more energy, help us concentrate, focus. In this day and age, we are poisoning ourselves every day, and we don't even realize it through bad food, bad vibrations, bad energy. I think that understanding our body and how it is actually an electric organism that responds to frequency, and learning this from old architecture, learning this from history, learning this from ancient teachings and texts, and finding all of this stuff online and trying to make sense of it and incorporating it into our modern lives is something that I have been doing for a few years now. Yeah, so
Applaud you, brother.
thank you.
Thank you so much. So Murdoch, let's get a picture of, before we even get into the sound frequency, I want a picture of Jay-Z and the rape allegations, because we're going to link all this music like we said, from music that heals to music that kills. So right here, Jay-Z accused of rape in the Diddy lawsuit. So right here, we see Jay-Z and P. Diddy, two of the top moguls when it comes to modern day black music, which is hip hop. Two of these brothers are one of the people responsible for, as we know, they said the shiny suits, but also the drug dealing type of music that we see pushed today. So let me get a picture of Tupac and Jay-Z, Murdoch. So right here in Machiavelli, Tupac Shakur's last album, if you guys listen to Machiavelli, 7-Day Theory, all of the people who are controlling hip hop today, Tupac names. He talks about Jay-Z, he talks about Dr. Dre, he talks about Puff Daddy. So really, I want to ask the audience, was the murder of Tupac and did the death and murder of Tupac change the trajectory of hip hop? And with the trajectory of hip hop being changed to drug dealing, pimping, and all this stuff we see today, so was the murder of Tupac, did it change the trajectory of reality? Because if Tupac hadn't have died, there's no Jay-Z. We have to question Dr. Dre, so that means no Eminem, no 50 Cent, you know, Puff Daddy. So basically the whole industry would be different, therefore reality would be different, therefore the sound would be different. So let's get into a picture, Murdoch, with the bells. Maybe we can start the picture with the golden.
I can see what they're showing. It's not me.
A picture with the golden bells, Murdoch, and maybe that can get us started. Or a picture with the Cymatics showing us the frozen architecture. So here's one of the pictures that you sent, Charles, and we're going to go through the pictures that you sent as we talk about it. So hopefully this is good enough order. So right now, what is going on with the conspiracy to destroy bells? I noticed that there's so many cracked bells throughout the world. Frank Miller of Riverside, California had or has one of the largest bell collections in the world. And I want to know what's going on with the bell conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, are you talking to me? Sorry. Yeah.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. All these are
I
going to be
presume
direct.
you're talking to me.
Yes.
Okay. Right. So, I mean, when I agreed to do this with you, I didn't know what I know now because my research is ongoing.
Wow.
And it's been 3 years of this, 3 years of daily revelations. So I don't know, like, I know that sounds ridiculous, but there are thousands of things in connection with the bells. And I try to kind of be at the forefront of the research. So I have like, I think my intuition is my actual gift. It's not my ability to read or write or my. I mean, I think my memory isn't even that great, but it turns out that the people who took the bells, because people always refer to them as they, right? They took the bells, and sometimes we say ruling elites, or sometimes we say, oh, somebody bad like fallen angels or Nephilim, people related to the family line of the Canaanites or something. But actually, this is very much a biblical thing. This is very much a destruction of the old world to bring in this new world where we're all kind of much lesser. We are lesser in size, lesser in the amount of oxygen we have, the amount of clean air, the amount of vitamins we have in our food. You see, and it was actually the Nazis that took the bells. Now, when we talk about the Nazis in our modern history, we refer to them as, okay, this was the Third Reich or Hitler's Third Reich. But I think what we're really talking about is something much darker and an empire that existed for much longer than we are told. And I find this with the Moors as well, that they existed much longer than we're told. And I'm told, and I think that if we look at the history of the human race, especially the discoveries in Turkey, have you heard about Göbekli Tepe?
Yes, I have. I
Yeah,
was watching that.
right. So when I looked into Göbekli Tepe, I realized that every history book that we have must be wrong, because that is a civilization that has religious iconography, and that definitely was organized into different communities, farming, academia. They had religious circular cities.
Yes,
They were able to carve. They were stonemasons. They were very highly qualified. They knew how to construct a civilized society, and that's like 30,000 years before people say the first civilization existed. So it's the same with the Nazis. I think the Nazis existed for a long time before they actually, we are told they did. Yeah, what you're showing now is the Glocke.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this does look like a bell, but it was said to have created a frequency that allowed it to levitate.
Yes,
Uh,
like the
I don't
venomous,
know how
venomous.
much
Yeah.
people know about that. Yeah, but they're even saying that the old Mesoamerican cities had levitating bricks, levitating rocks. If you go to like Mexico, you will see very large pyramids that carry sound very easily
It's a neat when
for
they do the
hundreds
clapping.
of meters. Yeah, yeah, and the sound carries along the stairs down the middle of the sacred geometry. And you will never see anybody talk about Egypt and comparing it to Mexico, because once they do, they realize it's the same exact measurements, same geometry. Nobody wants to talk about like the stepped pyramids in Egypt. Yeah,
Imhotep's
it'd be
pyramid.
so hard to find a picture. Like nobody wants to talk about that. But that's also sound. They're also doing exactly the same thing. You compare the
Mm,
Vatican to the old Quetzalcoatl pyramids,
yeah,
worshipping the flying serpent.
yeah.
Exactly the same geometry. If
So
you
what
compare, yeah,
you're going, so we're talking about also sound. That's interesting because for me, the
yeah,
pyramids are stargates, wormholes, and power plants. So they had to produce their own energy
yeah,
to send out free energy, but also to open up the particle accelerator or wormhole to where we could travel distances, because the pyramids in Mexico perfectly align with the pyramids in Egypt. But
right.
that's something new that I've heard as far as the step generating a sound frequency that could ignite the chemicals, the crystals that were being used in the water technology, like Chain Reaction with Keanu Reeves and Morgan Freeman. I don't know if
Oh, great film, great film. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that was more about water, right?
Yeah,
Water
because
power. Mm,
underneath the pyramids, there's always water channels. Uh,
mm,
the pyramids in
yeah,
Mexico, Egypt, whether it's lava or water. So for me, that's current. And then the certain crystals that they use are like serpentine and other copper, gold that produce electrical currents. And so if it's step and moving in a certain way, that's
mm,
producing consciousness, possibly even picking up the consciousness of the crystals in the gold and opening up a portal or energizing that particular structure. So when you were
yeah,
saying,
100%. Yeah, yeah, that's exactly. Yeah, I mean, there are still discussions that I'm having about the type of metal and the type of crystals. There are some crystals that you literally just have to rub together and you're creating electricity. Like you can
yes,
see it, you can visually see it. Like,
I
yeah,
see some of those. The brother who did my Uncle Ra, they have them even in Africa. I'm sure they're all over the world, but you rub them together, some glow, so they
yeah.
ignite. Well, go ahead
Well,
with
basically the Nazis were into all of that. They created in a place where my father lives, because I was actually born in Germany, in Berlin. So my father, I he left when I was 3, so I didn't really get to know him very well. But my father, since I've visited him earlier this year, he told me that they had factories of creating a type of mirror glass called Spiegel glass, and they invented it, or they said they invented it. But I mean, I believe they took it from other parts of the world. And they also have a type of healing glass which glows green, um, and I forgot the name. But this glass basically heals you, and it recalibrates the water or the food that you're eating. So it was healing. The older equivalent would be copper. Copper was also used to recalibrate water, because water is something we don't understand. Modern society, we have no idea what it is and why it exists and how it exists and how it can change the way you feel. Even the memory of water. There was a guy in Japan who was studying how to manipulate water, how water could remember everything.
Moto.
Yeah, everything. Titsumuko or something, TZ something. I don't know. I'm not very
Yeah.
good with names, but I know what he was doing, and he spent his whole life doing it in the end, like because
Yes.
there was so much work to be done, and he started calibrating water just by writing words onto bottles of water, and then he got to this amazing realization that if he infuses the water with sound, or if he uses different frequencies of sound, then the water would become more beneficial, more health, more kind of yeah. That those look like the mineral structures, which actually look a lot like
Course.
star
Yeah.
forts
It's
or snowflakes. Yeah,
geometrical shapes and
right.
patterns.
Yeah, they're all symmetrical and yeah, it's crazy. Yeah.
Show one of the Star Force Murdoch. We'll get into
Oh,
that.
that's not that's a rose window. That's called, yeah.
Rosewinter, but Murdoch has some of the pictures, I believe, of the Star Force as well. I'm
Did I
sure that,
send star forts? I have to check.
you did, but I have another one that
Oh,
basically,
you have a good one. All right.
yes. So keep going while he looks for that, because so
All right.
with Indiana Jones, I always try to relate that the Nazis are always in Indiana Jones, and they're always
Right.
obsessed with ancient technology, whether it's finding the Ark of the Covenant with
Yeah.
Indiana Jones and the Raiders
Yeah,
of the Lost Ark.
it's always the Nazis or the Prussians. It's not the Russians or the Chinese. Yeah.
Yes. So here we are with a picture of Star Force, defensive fortification or natural energy centers. Can you explain to us more about Star Force for our viewers who might not be aware that our ancestors used geometric patterns with water to build
Right.
energy centers?
Yeah, this is very interesting. I mean, so what we're told is that in the 1600s, various kings and principalities all around Europe started building star-shaped walls around their cities, star-shaped mounds, and then walls around their cities. Now, okay, the truth is, right, and I know that 99% of academia is gonna like disagree with this, but the truth is, and I have proven it. I've tried to prove it. In the end, I had to go to a fort that is near China to prove it. But the reason why star forts were originally constructed was because they created a type of ether harvesting process that utilizes water in certain geometrical shapes, and this gave people longevity, health. It gave them much more energy. They could harness a lot more energy from these copper spires that you see all over Europe. See, we are comparing what we already see to what we already see, but you have to stop doing that. You have to compare nothing to what we see, and then you have to think why. Why are you spending all these resources constructing these intricate patterns? And then when you realize how many star forts there actually are in the world, that they're not just in like Germany and the Netherlands, that they actually exist all over the world, and that they are actually thousands of years old, older than the cities that were built around them because they were
What
being
about
protected by them.
What about the Statue of Liberty? Would you consider that a star fort island? Have you seen that design?
I've seen that design. Yes, I've seen that design. Yeah. So the base of it is obviously mud flooded. It could be a pyramid. I mean, we need to stop thinking about pyramids as being an African Egyptian concept. We have to think
Right.
about it as being an international, ancient law that everything was much smaller because the people were much bigger. Okay, so you build a pyramid because the pyramid allows you to get closer to heaven. And that was the number one addiction for every fallen angel, every lineage of Nephilim. Like, I mean, when they got bored with interbreeding animals with humans, they started to build pyramids. And I think that's what when maybe there was some kind of reckoning because of that. I mean, if you look at the Bible, it's all in the Bible. Like, you don't need to read any other book. You just read the Bible. You find out that there was a city in the Bible called Babel. The city was called Babel. Everyone was working together to try to get to heaven, or to get at least to the ether, to some kind of higher
I don't know.
realm. Yeah, because they knew it was there because that was a genetical memory. We all have genetical memory. Even if you never read the Bible, you will still know everything that's in there if as you start to uncover your past lifetimes. I mean, if we don't believe in reincarnation, then we haven't really started looking around us. I mean, there are people building the same thing with the same
For
pattern
real.
everywhere on Earth.
Hey, bro, before you move forward, I need to interject right quick. So I noticed you mentioned we gotta stop thinking about pyramids. Did you say being built by Africans and Egyptians? What do you mean by that?
No, we need to stop the label, the construct of having a label that a pyramid belongs to a specific civilization.
Okay.
Yeah.
Meaning that we're intergalactic people, that we're going to find out that they're not just pyramids in Egypt. There's more pyramids in the Sudan. For me, I'm waiting for a big
Right.
flood to hit the Sudan. And for me, I was studying before I went to Kemet or Tamaray or backpack South Africa in '06. I was trying to go to the Sudan because through my mushroom trips and stuff, my visions, I was seeing before I learned about the reptilians and David Icke, we were experimenting in college. So these are the beings that I was seeing, and I would study them. So when it came to the beings that I was seeing, I eventually saw them carved on the Sudanese pyramids. So for me, I was like, there had to have been a time where so-called intelligent dinosaurs and humans live cohesively together. And the concept of what we see dinosaurs today through Steven Spielberg might not be accurate, but they do show us dinosaur movies with them talking and being intelligent. So I was trying to go to the Sudan to discover the pyramids there, but it was too dangerous. So I could only go to Kemet. So for the viewers watching, there are more pyramids in North America than Egypt. So I think that's what Charles was getting at.
I didn't actually know that. That's interesting. So sorry, I didn't know there were more pyramids up there. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know that there are pyramids in China. I know that there are big pyramids in Bosnia. There's a Bosnian pyramid. I'm not saying they didn't originate in Africa. I'm pretty sure that they originated in Africa for other reasons, not because of the geometry or the architecture. I think that there are pyramids all over the world, much like star forts. You could almost look at them as an older version of a star fort. Yeah. Obviously, I mean, could you, should anyone stop saying that Egypt is the land of pyramids? No, but there are
I see what you're
definite.
saying. I get what you're saying. I see what you're saying because you got pyramids on Mars too. So I see what you're saying. Go ahead.
And
Right,
that
right. I
and, that,
mean,
and that's what I wanted you to get into, the Etruscans and the fallen angels. When we say fallen angels, can we say extraterrestrials? Is that safe to say? What is your definition of the fallen
There's a
angels?
portal. Oh my God. I'm so sorry. I'm outside and there's a portal.
If we can go higher and deeper with that, when we say the fallen angels and the Moors, what's your knowledge on that as far as extraterrestrial brothers or black men coming from outer space?
I think it's I think it's interesting. I think it helps people to open their minds to new possibilities. Um, I think that we have to. I mean, as crazy as it seems, we have to accept that there is life that is native to this hemisphere, and there is life that definitely didn't originate here that is also here with us. Um, and did that come from the sky? Well, that's like a logical. That's an ancient esoteric belief, like that angels fell, fallen angels, lost their wings and came down. So is that just another civilization's way to interpretate some life form coming from the sky? Yes. I mean, today we would say, oh, that's a UFO, that's a ship. 10,000 years ago, people would have said, oh, that is God blessing us with His presence. And then if you go back to like cave paintings, they thought that this was their own like ancestry, their own forefathers visiting them. You see, so I
Yeah.
mean, uh, there were times when highly functioning historians and scientists knew about certain events that were happening, like eclipses, and used that to their advantage to become gods. You
Mhm.
see,
Yeah.
that happened in South America. I think one of the conquistadors decided, oh, I know that there will be an eclipse because they had the benefits of Nostradamus's teachings, right? So
Mhm.
they're saying, okay, we know that there might be, so let's just play into that, and suddenly you have a whole civilization looking at them as some kind of higher functioning deity, which they actually were because they had that knowledge. So
Yeah.
so I mean, to some extent it's manipulating people who are less aware, but to say that the Aztecs were less aware is a lie. That's definitely fueled by some kind of bias, because those cities were already highly functioning brick archways. They were using magnetism, they were using crystals, they were using lights, they were controlling lights and sound frequencies. So those people were more advanced than we are now. The
So
Aztecs were more advanced than we are now, 100%. We're still learning what they were trying to say. How were
Murdoch,
they?
keep going. Murdoch, put some of those pictures while he talks. Scroll through and see what he can hop on, because we have so many pictures to go through. We
Yeah,
have
yeah.
some.
Pictures are great. Pictures really help people. Yeah. So this is incredible. I don't know who actually made this. I
Mhm.
mean, I could make that, but uh, the first time I saw it, I was like, "Damn, that's the parallels are so important, obviously important." So what we have is piano tones. Now the piano is a real key to unlocking a lot of things. Um, the books of the Bible amount to 66 today, but we know that there are a lot of them. Yeah, like Bel and the Dragon was removed. The all of the stories about the Nephilim were removed. All of the Book of Giants was removed. Enoch, all of his teachings were removed because they were talking about the fallen angels. So that would have those books were removed. So originally, before King James started cutting things out, um, there were 88 books, and I found out that there were 88 keys on a piano. Now you can't change the keys on a piano because that goes back thousands of years. I mean, that's a harpsichord. Yeah,
Yeah.
the piano is just a harp. It's just an ancient like Greek harp that somebody put on a flat horizontal surface and started adding keys to it, so it would be easier to play for the rich, noblemen of Renaissance Europe, right? So it's actually a harp. It goes back to before the Bible. Okay, so I think when they looked at the harp, they were actually saying, okay, we're going to write as many books for this book, for this Bible, because it's sound. Yeah, the
And,
human skull is the instrument that produces the frequency that you need to awaken your ancestral knowledge. This human skull. If you start shaving your skull because you're having facial surgery to look more attractive, you're forever destroying your frequency. Yeah. So the human skull, everyone has a different shaped skull. That rose window is based upon the geometry of the human body. There you go.
wow.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
one of the pictures, it was showing like an electrical conductor looks exactly like these geometric patterns right
Oh yeah,
here.
yeah. They were ripping that off. They were reverse engineering churches to build pretty much everything we have. Yeah.
Mm.
Think
So
about that. Think about that one idea. They were repurposing ancient mud flooded religious structures to create almost all the technology we have today.
wow. So basically, it sounds like ancient people went into these buildings that were the mega churches like Theater of Notre Dame and the Vatican, that
Yep.
these buildings were basically where we truly heard or the sound of what we call God today. So if they were able to ring bells and then certain light going through stained glass windows through certain colors and a geometric pattern, and maybe you're laying down hearing sounds and light hitting you,
Yep.
now you're being healed. Now your
Then
cells
you
are
then you
charged.
start creating sculptures like Michael. Then you start creating sculptures like uh, the rape of the seraphims or something, right? Then you start creating sculptures like this. Then you start painting on walls like the Sistine Chapel, because you're not dying at 100 years old. You're dying at 300, and you've become so good at everything that
Go
it's
back.
not even a big deal anymore. You know.
If
Exactly.
you
Keep talking. Go back to that picture, Murdoch, because I really wanted to that one. Exactly what you were saying, Charles. That's where for me, we did not die in the video game. We are not supposed to die here.
No.
Almost to the point to when you got done playing, you're like, okay, you might have an exit plan. But no, for me, we're in a Matrix hologram. And the instructions that they get, like bells, you know. So
I
in
have a
the
lot of
middle,
bells. I use a lot of
you
bells.
can ring my
and I
bell.
even have
Everyone should have bells in every room in their house. Yeah.
in
Yes.
in the middle, everyone watching this picture right here is the scientists have supposedly found and captured the picture of the light photon. So right here in the middle, you're seeing a picture of the photon, which for me shows the intelligence of a creation or a creator or us in a video game. And so these photons speak. It has what we would call a language. So for me, the alphabet would be, in a sense, a prison of light code lockdown. And that's why they say possibly the world was created with the word of God. So if certain words were only taught, that would mean that we have a limited understanding of the universe due to language, possibly. So, Charles, was there possibly like a school of sacred geometry to where in third, fourth grade, we were learning these symbols like we were learning our A, B, and C? So by the time we're 40, 50, we're able to walk on water, we're able to fly, like you were saying, create magnificent sculptures and structures because we've been here 300 to 500, 1,000 years old.
Those shapes look like fruit too if you cut certain fruits open.
Oh yeah. 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 That's a good point.
Just like the fruit, certain, yeah. Kind of cool.
But go ahead, Charles, I'm listening.
Yeah. So uh
And keep scrolling.
yeah, there's so much to talk about. Like, yeah. So I mean, when you talk about the what you're saying with the stained glass, yeah. So I saw a church in Europe where there were actually more than one rose window. There were like 3 or 4 of them altogether, and they didn't have any glass in them. And I thought to myself, oh, that looks like it's been damaged or something. Like maybe the glass has been removed, or they stole it, or some kid threw a rock at it. But then I found out upon doing more research that they didn't have glass in them at all. That this is something that we've added ourselves to kind of make it look Nice. Because the sound was actually carrying through the geometry. Yeah. I mean, because we see rose windows, and we think that the light is healing us, which it probably is actually, but they never had glass in them. They didn't even. I think they had a type of crystal,
Mm,
and some of them didn't have any crystals. They were just carrying sound. So it depends what type you're looking at. Like the picture, I think B1, that's the one that I've been studying. Could be the same one. I think that's a church in maybe Germany. Looks like. Yeah. So without crystals, because you must remember this whole thing about the 12 apostles, putting that into the rose window may not have been the original intention. Yeah. So even though today we put literal meaning to a figurative concept of 12 apostles, 12 months of the year, we actually may just be interpreting things in our own way. And if there weren't any windows, if there wasn't any glass, they would probably be much more effective at sound traveling, because at the other side of every cathedral there's an organ.
mm,
And sometimes they're very big, and they would have pipes that create that frequency and then send it out to everyone who lives there. Usually it's facing Mecca, which is also interesting. So that also maybe could be a challenge to the whole concept of the origin of Christianity. So as we know that the Moors were Muslim to a large extent, and they would have been building their monasteries or churches or mosques facing Mecca too.
mm.
Mecca, of course, is in the Islamic tradition. So, yeah, here we go. Here we go. It's gonna get. It's all. It always ends up
Into it.
about
Let's
the
get it.
Moors. I don't know why. It's just, I do know why. So, and yeah. So is the organ there to heal our organs, and are the sound waves supposed to be amplified by the windows, and should we remove the glass and see what happens, kind of thing. So yeah.
Wow. Can you explain this picture right here? I wasn't sure what it was. You had
All
sent.
right. Yeah. Yeah. So I've been as I'm currently in Taiwan, I have been comparing the Taoist teachings to, Greek, Mesopotamian, and they also have their own star signs, or constellations. Yeah. So the constellations, the constant illumination of the sky. And yeah, I've been linking star thoughts to stars, and this came up. We have different phases of the moon here. We also have a yin and yang symbol in the center, which which is also connected to the stars. It's actually um, in the teachings, I think it's two fish, but it's obviously trying to be the sun and the moon. Um, uh, but everyone has their own interpretation. It's very loose, actually, the interpretations of that. Then outside of that, we have the Babylonian symbols for the star signs, and then we have different elements, and yeah, so it it then goes out to different times of the year. We used to have 13 months. Now we have 12.
Why do you
So
think
it,
that
it, it
is?
is more difficult. Yeah, the months all used to have the same amount of days, as opposed to our strange Gregorian version of the original calendar, which
And
which
that
may have
has
originated in Africa too, I think.
to do with sound frequencies, right? The octaves in
Yeah,
certain months.
yeah.
Murdoch, can you put also that picture of the Sumerian watch that you had a few pictures ago? Could you get into that as well? Because does that have to do with throwing us off with the calendars? And are these symbols for us to lead us back home to the truth? Because you also sent that I don't know if that was correlating with the calendar you were showing with the Sumerians. So I was just trying to. We got about 20 minutes left, so
Okay.
30.
Yeah,
So
so I mean, this is a very big topic too. Yeah, but we have to think of the colors as being sound frequencies. Those
mm,
are not indistinguishable from each other. Uh, in Asia, there are 7 chakras to the human body, and each chakra has its own sound frequency and its own color, its own energy. Yeah. So you start at the kind of root chakra and you end at the crown chakra at the top. Um, so everybody wants to kind of get to the top, to the crown, right? To this
yeah,
higher consciousness. But there's a lot of things to do on the way there. In the end, you have to sort of almost give up your desire to probably have material wealth. Your emotions have to be completely detached from your consciousness. I mean, it gets pretty kind of esoteric, pretty difficult. Now, a lot of these large Sumerian tablets, right, that use cuneiform, which is a very difficult to decipher language, have great secrets in them. Great secrets. There is story of the Epic of Gilgamesh. Have you heard of that?
yes. Sun Ra talks about the cuneiform. He
Right.
was talking about how it's an extraterrestrial language. You remember Sun
Yeah.
Ra when you were speaking about when the professor from UC Irvine, what was it called? Fourth kind.
Right in that movie, exactly. You got it. You got it.
Do you go into debt with extraterrestrial? Because you when you say fallen angels, can you go into debt with that? Because I remember you were saying the Moors were fallen angels in Nephilim.
Who was saying that?
I thought I heard you say that some of the Moors were fallen angels, or maybe I misinterpreted.
So the connection between Moors and fallen angels is I don't have any connection that I can
Okay.
think of.
Um,
Um, I'm not actually sure what what the connection is between you and me, like humans, and the fallen angels. But I do know that in the Bible it says that the fallen angels began to lie with women. And if you look at like the birth of Hercules, for example, it's exactly the same story. A god Zeus had intercourse with, yeah, with a beautiful woman he met washing her clothes by the river. So and then he was the result of that. So he was obviously larger. I mean, when you watch like Hollywood movies, they will give you the truth, but they will switch it around. So instead of Brad Pitt in Troy being a giant, he was killing giants, but actually he was the giant. Everyone else was smaller than him. Yeah, and that's why he became. That's why Hercules was written about, because of his size and his stature. Yeah, he was a demigod in Greece, which we would call in the Bible it's a Nephilim, or a son of the fallen angels. So today we call them giants.
I would say they
Yeah.
play in the NBA and NFL. That the Giants
Right.
walk amongst
Yeah.
it.
I mean,
Yeah,
you can see that there's some difference there in,
sure.
a
It's big.
DNA. And so, I mean, there is a difference, right? I mean, if you look at the people that are on the teams, because they don't have any leeway for mistakes. They can't pick someone because it's a political hire or something. Like, you pick the best. You have to pick the best. You have to pick the superior speed and strength, right?
Yeah,
So yeah, it's a really good way to check up on, who are the people that are should we say gifted? Yeah, physically gifted. Yeah. But
definitely.
but but you can't say that those are related or to the Nephilim, because you could also say those are God's chosen people. So it's really hard to, you
Mm.
can't just say a specific thing. It's very hard to have a conclusion, to come up with a conclusion and say these people are like this because of this. You know?
Now, when it
Yeah.
comes to Moors in Europe and your travels, like you're saying, what do you know and what's your opinion on why the Moorish legacy is hidden so much throughout the world? And Murdoch, maybe
Mm,
you can go through some pictures that might
yeah.
pop up as well.
I think you know how I feel, right? So,
But
but
the
let me
audience,
tell everyone. Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Okay, this is been a real awakening for me. I believe God has given me the job to do this. I have multiple arguments every time I open Facebook or Instagram. Uh, and I don't mind. I think it's fine. I think I enjoy it. I think you can learn a lot from interacting with people because everyone has something to contribute. You know, even somebody who's critical of of my theories ends up helping me look into something new. Yeah, so I'm pretty sure that academia, uh, uh, like architecture, the teachings of all of our teachings on cymatics come from the Moors. All of this knowledge comes from Africa. The Moors brought it to Europe in 711 AD with Tariq Albiazin. Sorry, I'm not very good with names. I told you that before. He was a commander. When I say general, everybody gets on my back. When I say commander, everybody shuts up. So I'm going to say commander, because he obviously the Moors worked together with the Persian Islamic Muslims, and they started civilizing Europe. Europe was pretty in a real mess. You had Visigoths taking over most of Europe. People were living in abject poverty. A lot of there was no real. There were some leftover sort of water irrigation from the Roman Empire, but not much. And even the Roman Empire, it had its own Moorish emperors, which again is something people want to deny. I'm not going to label people who deny that. I'm going to try to defeat them with facts and research. Yeah.
where do you think the technology went? Because you were saying that when we were speaking of the sound frequencies, I want to spend more time. There was a picture of the Cymatics. Murdoch, you had that picture up. Can you explain more, possibly the technology, the music being liquid architecture and architecture being frozen music, and relating that to everything right now? This as far as, do you see the pictures?
Hmm.
So you had sent this one. So I know that
I like that one.
a
Yeah.
lot of the architecture, like when we go to Tamaray or Kemet, you could see that the temples are set up like the human body. So a lot of
Right.
people just are
Yeah.
fascinated with the pyramids, but the actual temple itself, there's certain sections that are dedicated to the head, the arm, the foot. It seems
Yeah.
like they're
So you have
being
vestibules. Yeah. Vestibules are the bones. They are like resonators. They conduct the energy. Then you have the temple, the inner temple or the inner sanctum, which is your inner sanctum, your cranium. The temple is the temple. It's exactly the same vocabulary. Everyone has temples on each side of their head. It's called a temple. You read a medical textbook, it'll tell you this is your temple. Um, uh, it's very simple. I don't know why people haven't been able to draw those connections, that your temple is a temple. This is where you think, where you pray. This is where your consciousness originates from. Your heart would be the courtyard, which is actually a yard of flesh that is wound up that creates electromagnetic energy. So what else? You have alcoves. So your alcoves would be joints, possibly. You would have you would have your reproductive organs are usually aspire in the same place where your reproductive organ is. Um, Obelisks are also supposed to be the reproduction, the idea of
Alice.
furthering. Yeah, it's pretty simple. I mean, where does all your energy come from? Well, if you're grounding, it comes from your feet. So that's there you have the entrance gate, the victory gate, the foundation. The foundation is your foot, your feet. So yeah, I mean, you can go really deep into this. You can start measuring the distance between your lip and your nose. You will see that in the temple. You have this Fibonacci sequence that is perfectly your body was designed by a perfect higher consciousness, a God, and that's why you're going to the church, because it's a cathode, it's a cathedral, it's charging you, it's giving you energy. And if you haven't been to a church in years, you're going to have health problems. The churches were not built by humans. Okay, they're there for a reason, and they can't be destroyed. In Taiwan, there was a Japanese invasion about 50 years ago, but none of the churches were destroyed.
What's this
You have
picture that you sent here? Was this a temple that you have visited? You see,
No, I haven't been to India. Oh, I have to go. Like, I have to go. Yeah. So, yeah, this is a great one. This was discovered, as everything is discovered, under mud, right? This is a giant. I think it's called Hampi chariot. Yeah, I think it's called Hampi chariot.
okay.
Um, I think it was moving on wheels. This thing is insane. If anybody ever goes there, it's straight out of the Bible, by the way. There were wheels upon wheels moving around the surface of the earth. I think that's what this is. This is some kind of angelic, large. Have you ever seen the Japanese anime Howl's Moving Castle?
No, but if you talk speaking of the cloud cities and things
Yeah,
of that
they
nature.
were flying around. They were moving around the earth. Unfortunately, all that's left is this kind of husk of a burnt out. Looks like a temple. But ask anybody in that country how it was built, and we just live here. We don't know, Nobody
Mm,
know. I mean, it's supposedly carved out of rock with chisels. I mean, but this is way too old. Like, if just show that picture to people, and if anyone gets upset, yeah, yeah, if anyone gets upset, just you show that picture, and there are certain things that people cannot say anymore because
well,
you know about this place. People just don't want anyone to look into it. That's all.
and it looks like a bell on top. Murdoch, do you have any more pictures of the bell? I think we had a picture that had the basic elements of the bell right there. Can
Yeah.
you explain that? Because it's basically saying that each section of the bell is a mathematical frequency, or how does that work?
Yeah. Okay. So, well, it's all about pi. Pi. Do you know pi? The equation.
3.14.
Right. Right. Exactly. Good. So, yeah, pi is linked to pretty much everything on Earth. I mean, Uh, um. Okay. So there's a geometry here that mimics the Fibonacci sequence. If you combine that with pi, you you will get this Vajra type shape. Do you know Vajra?
It does
Yeah,
look like a pi symbol. Okay.
yeah. Look at the top of the bell. That's really where the esoteric that's where the origin of the bell comes from. So everything else, what we think is a bell, is actually a Vajra device, which is also Indian. So everything,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I was
Mm.
saying earlier. I said
So that's
dynamite.
geometry to recalibrate and enhance the frequency of the sound. If you don't have that at the top, you don't get the same sound. Now, in China, they have bells of different sizes for different parts of your body, like a healing thing, like a uh, what would you call that in English? It's like
Sound
uh,
sound
yeah,
bowl.
it's like it's a type of therapy that people use to destroy tumors. So it's definitely used in modern medicine. It's not hidden that well. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. It's a type of sonar, or what do they call it? Anyway, yeah, it's a type of cymatic sound frequency that you can mimic with this specific angle. That you can see the angles there. It's
Yes.
very specific. It is not just a bell which looks like a hat. Okay, there is an actual uh, uh, um, sequence of numbers that has to be followed for it to accomplish what it does. And
Mm,
that goes all the way back to where we started at the beginning today, about the Nazis, why they wanted to remove that. Yeah, I mean, they had this narrative that they needed metal for bullets to melt down the iron, the copper, whatever metal you had.
mm,
But but that's not true because they were building metal eagles and putting them on everything. So it's not true. Like they were not just after bullets. They were trying to create these bell graveyards where they removed all of this energy in preparation for a new world order, a new
It's,
yeah. I mean, because they knew how powerful it was because they reversed engineered everything all around the world. I mean, you'll find Nazi bases all over the world. You know? So
have you studied Project Paperclip when the Nazis?
yes, yeah,
Because we were speaking of
yeah.
South America as well.
I did
And
a project on Project Paperclip when I was at school. Yeah.
oh wow. So yeah, that deals with the Nazis. For anybody watching, go look up
Yeah.
Project Paperclip of the Nazis not losing the war, not only going to the US, but Argentina, Antarctica, and possibly off the planet. So
well, yeah. I mean, there are theories that I don't prescribe to about the other worlds past the ice wall,
I saw, oh,
which
what
most
do you
people have been introduced through TV shows like Game of Thrones. You know, yeah.
what do you feel is, well, we already explained the part of that. Now we were on the sounds and the bells. So is there another picture of the bells? Because we were getting there. Yeah, there's like movies with trolls and stuff where the bells throw them off. So were
Right.
bells used to ward away evil entities and spirits? And is also, oh, I love that picture, Murdoch. Keep that one up. But were
Yeah,
the
this is one of my
bells
favorite. Yeah, yeah.
were the
Very, very
bells
good picture.
used to ward off evil entities? And by destroying the bells, does that mean that these entities that might not be visible to the naked eye are running rampant now because there's no bells?
Yes. I mean, it's the idea of enhancing our own eyes. Everyone should be doing this, enhancing their own vision, because our eyes really only see ultraviolet to infrared. So there are animals that see things that are far beyond that. So we are not really experiencing we're not really
Is
experiencing the full brevity or the full scope of reality anyway.
is that why you
So
were
if
showing? Go ahead. Is that why you had the cat with the bell? Because they see into different dimensions.
yeah, you, my friend, yeah, are a
I
very
told him that.
very clever man. No one has worked that out. I
I
Wow.
play
told
all
him
kinds of
that.
games, by the way. You know, we have to play games to keep ourselves, conscious. But damn, bro,
Give,
like
give
I
credit to the
respect
goddess.
that. Forget this whole podcast, man. We have to have a chat.
Give
That's
credit to the
No. This is
goddess.
about your evolution too, and yeah, if you've worked that out, then yeah, okay.
What'd you say, Sunra?
Give
Sunra, did
credit
you
to the
say
god.
something?
Give credit to the goddess.
Thank
Yeah, it's not
you.
just a cute cat. I'm not just playing around with AI, okay? Yeah.
No, cats travel to different
Do you feel
dimensions,
that the
and
cats were created in ancient Egypt? Have you heard about that as far as the
Yeah.
domesticated cat? Because
the
I mean, with
lioness.
the slit of a domesticated cat, it's of a reptilian snake eye compared to that
Yeah.
of a lion and tiger.
Yeah. No, cats shouldn't exist. The fact that they do, same with pandas. The fact that they do means that there was some ancient ability to combine these different, sorry, not genus, species. We are kind of trying to do that in a way. Yeah, sets, yeah. So I mean, no, I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know. But I know that they did it. And I know that the cat eye is not the same as the lion's eye. So anyone who tells you that these animals are connected in some way is lying to you. They probably don't know they're lying though. Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
they're just being fed that information. Yeah. So yes, there is no correlation between a house cat and a lion. It's just not, you don't get one type of eye, and it's all about the eye, really.
But
yeah.
hold on. But you know what though? Hold on, real quick. If you observe felines, if you observe all type of felines in nature, they behave the exact same way. Think about that for a little bit.
Yeah.
Think about it.
I
Their
think the
behavior.
lion was
Huh?
definitely the foundation for
Oh,
the genetical engineering.
there you
Yeah.
go. So there you go. So that's my point. when you get all these cat species, they definitely came from the same source, even though they've probably been hybridized. I agree on that. But
Well, that's
they definitely come from the same source because they have the same spirit. Meaning their behavior is the same way, regardless of what type of body they're in. You know what I'm saying? But go ahead.
could you
Right.
say that about humans as well then? That our cells were used to create other races?
Right. So yes, the human template.
To me, we're the extraterrestrials, and they
Huh?
use our DNA. But
Uh-oh.
we
Yeah,
got so
I'm
much
turning it up.
to go further. So we're gonna wrap it up.
Um,
I want an hour. We got so much to go into. I
part
wanted to
two.
about the harp because interesting. The harp technology, it opens portals, controls the weather. And the harp was known to call upon the deities, and they would become visible. So that
May I
was
say something real quick, please, Professor?
go ahead.
There was just a portal outside like 25 minutes ago. I don't know if you heard me say it, but there's a portal outside with the moon. So there's something going on right now outside.
Well, those drones going through New Jersey and New York that are undetectable.
No, they're out here too. They're in Riverside County. I see them at my house all the time. But people keep telling me I'm crazy. Now, fast forward, we're here. Now
So,
you see what I see. But go ahead.
so can we throw up one last picture for Charles to end it with, Murdoch, please?
One more picture, Murdoch. One more.
So one more to end it. Come on, Murdoch.
Come on, Murdoch. Forth to the team.
So I guess Murdoch, you're gonna throw one up so we can end it.
Throw up the W. All right.
No, some with the bells or something. Please.
You can ring my bell.
Or the Cymatics or something.
Ring.
Okay.
Oh, that's something interesting. Do you notice the swastika on there?
Yes, and for me, it goes back to Abraham, which is a star constellation in the Polaris star. A lot of
Oh, I
people
see it.
might not
Yeah,
know about that. So go ahead and end it with
because
this.
the Nazis appropriated that and turned it around, because from the West you would get a different movement of the Orion's belt. So
Oh wow.
it's basically spring, summer, autumn, winter for to obviously to the Third Reich. They were using that symbol from the other side because they were the barbarians or the barbaria. Yeah. So they were using Orion's belt in 4 seasons to create the swastika. Obviously, the original swastika is actually a Buddhist symbol that goes back thousands of years, and was obviously the same constellations that they were copying. Yeah, the same movement. And it mimics everything. Mimics the way people walk, the way people talk, the way people read books, the way the way water flows. Everything. It's a really powerful thing. I mean, we could do a whole episode on that. That's like
Yeah, I want to talk more about the water bells. Maybe
Yes.
come back on
yeah.
next week and do a part 2 and
Cool.
related to the holidays.
I
So
like to finish with a quote. Can I do that? Short one.
go ahead.
Okay, this is by C. William King. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pause before and afterwards. Okay. In an insane world, a sane man must appear insane. That's it.
Oh, I thought you were going to pause.
That was the pause. Sorry.
All right, so Sun Ra, leave us with some as we head out of What is the Matrix TV.
Yo, you guys said so much. I can't even. I can't even start to say something to close it out. But you guys did mention levitation, and that was one of our sciences. That's how the pyramids were built. That's how most of our structures were built, using that science of levitation.
Wow. Thank you, brother Sun Ra, for tuning in as our co-host, and beautiful Oracle Goddess Lana. Leave us with something great before we close it out. Donations, Cash App, where to find us.
Yes, Cash App for sure. Okay, so yes, I'm definitely a student, and I feel like everyone should learn something each and every day. So thank you, Charles, for all of those jewels you just dropped. So it just sounds like, you know, we live in a world that's alive, and it's alive like us, and those frequencies, the bells and whatnot, is what's required for healing. So and it's kind of cool to know that the piano has 88 keys, just like the Bible you were saying, and then we're missing some books. So that was a very cool collection, connection there. So thank you for that. But yeah, shout out to everyone. Thank you for tuning in, and see y'all next week, next Wednesday, 8 p.m.
Wait, hold on. Don't close yet. Don't close yet.
Okay.
Hold on, wait.
Did we pass around the offering basket yet, Jason? Oh, we did. Jason, Cash App.
Go ahead, Sunra. You wanted to say
one important notice.
Go ahead.
Our so-called star family, our so-called ancestors are desperately trying to contact us. Desperately. But our vibration has fallen so low that we have lost the ability to communicate with them off-world via telepathy. That's another big reason why they had to take them bells away. Long story short, to keep you in a low vibration, keep you cut off literally. We are at the bottom of the ocean with no cable to the top, to the surface. The surface being the celestial heavens, the bottom of the ocean being being earth. We are cut off. So continue. So it's very important that you raise your vibration so that you can literally be in direct communication with your so-called galactical star family. Just like when I see your DM, you can literally talk to. In ancient times, while you was on Earth, you could literally talk to your ancestors, literally via telepathy. Long story short, so raise your vibration, raise your vibration, raise your vibration.
And that's what this book's all about. Love you, Sun Ra. Jason and the Lost Pyramid, the hottest new book on the planet, y'all. Jason is an upcoming teenage superhero in training who identifies as a Moorish, indigenous, Black, African American. He has ADD, attention deficit hyper disorder, ADHD. And so be sure to go look at it. Jason and the Lost Pyramid. Find it on Amazon.com. I am your host, Jason Elm Street Williams, Master of the Universe. We are living in a Matrix hologram video game. You're not supposed to die here. Wake up, share the information, love one another. This is the most beautiful time to be alive. Jason, July, August, September, October, November. I am not a human. I am an extraterrestrial. Sit down to speak. What is the Matrix TV? Peace and love.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
What is the Matrix?
Start me from the top, man. Maybe it's the weed got me. Maybe it's these trees got me. Maybe it's these hoes got me. Maybe it's this stroll that got me. Maybe it's these clothes got me. Maybe it's these laws got me. Maybe it's my dogs got me. Maybe it's these bras got me. Maybe it's this man that got me. Maybe it's my clan that got me. Maybe it's my fan that got me. My plans, my plans. The Matrix.
When I wake up in the morning.
Welcome to the world-famous King Tut Museum. Be sure to respect the ancient relics. The ancient Egyptians were a magical people who built numerous beautiful, magnificent structures, like the world-famous pyramids and temples. No running inside. Scientists till this very day still do not know how the Egyptians built the pyramids.
I wonder, did aliens ever visit ancient Egypt?
Wow, look at that giant Egyptian statue. It looks just like you, Jason.
Thanks, Toby. You're a super cool friend. Imagine what the world would look like if I was the pharaoh.
Jason, you are daydreaming. Wake up.
Sorry, history got away from me.